Hey, y'all. Thanks again for checking your girl out. We're back here at Ashland, starting on this recap for Queens episode 4, Ain't No Sunshine. And let's, y'all. Jeff is dead for real, y'all. Like, Jeff is really dead. I'm feeling some type of way. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I knew he was dead last week, but I just knew he was going to somehow miraculously come on. We know TV. He was really not gonna be dead. Maybe it was a joke. Okay, but he really dead, y'all. And, Brianna, first off, why did she look up how to dispose of a dead body? Because in my mind, I immediately thought, like, wait, what? Like, you don't want to just regularly bury him and, like, have somebody come, the ambulance, coroner, or whatever. But after I went through the episode, I was like, okay, maybe, second guess, maybe, she was just looking to find out who was the appropriate person to call, right? So she does call she does call, make some phone calls, and she does, the ambulance or the coroner, one of the two, does show up and retrieve Jeff's body. And of course, she's low-key spiraling. She's trying to figure out her next move. Should she wake up the kids and tell the kids, or not? And what she decides, just another night of peace, basically. And so the coroners come. They seem to be just throwing Jeff all around. Like, they ain't handling Jeff with no type of care. Maybe it was just me, but I feel like they weren't really doing Jeff right. But anywho, they take Jeff out of there, and just as they wheel his body out of there is when one of their daughter wakes up. Just kind of asks, was everything okay? Was dad up to, type of thing, and was he still going to take them to the game the next day? So she's really, like, again, in her head, should I wait? Should I tell him now? Should I wait? And, she ends up deciding to wait. So, she calls his mom, and most likely sounds like his mom, lets his mom know of the passing. And like clockwork, our girl Alexis ain't going nowhere. She calls too, like, what could you possibly want right now? Like, so we know we're going to be dealing with that or whatever, right? So, basically she is up all night just thinking of, just thinking about it. I mean, if you, went through the past, and it's not really, unless you cried yourself to sleep, it's not really a go and lay down type, to go take a nap type of thing. So she's literally up until the next morning, getting the kid, and the kids are waking up, and she's getting them ready for breakfast. And of course, they're asking about dad, and she's doing the same thing with the daughter. She's putting them off, not really answering their questions, but just following up with something else without really answering that question. And then as she's finally sitting at the table with them, she, is just looking at him, and she's like, y'all, I gotta tell y'all something. We gotta talk. And my heart is just going now. Like, even though it's like fake, obviously, like, I get invested into shows, and I'm an emotional person. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and losing family, like, that stuff just hits close to home or whatnot. So I was low key in my feelings this episode or whatnot, right? So picking up from last week, remember Eric Erock as well. Eric Erock has gotten the, he's basically found out that JoJo is possibly here. So he shows up at Naomi's door, and immediately, so is JoJo mine? And JoJo, I mean, Naomi is like, wait, pause, like, this ain't even it. And what, we don't need to have this conversation right now, because, JoJo was still happy, is here or whatever or whatnot. So in the midst of, them being, her introducing them to each other, she gets the call from Brianna letting her know that he has passed or whatnot. So, remember, leaving off, Jill and the journalist reporter girl were about to hook up. And oh yeah, they hooked up. She woke up to text messages, her phone's going off, and it's Tina, basically, is in LA, and she ready to pull up. So she's in a whole panic because old shorty girl, journalist girl, is right here in the bed beside her. So she's like, get out, basically, like, real rude, like, but she's like, no, I don't mean that, but you have to leave. And the journalist girl kind of just more felt like, you're feeling bad, you're feeling guilty. What's crazy is you think that this lesbian girl is going to be your first lesbian girlfriend, because she's clearly not. Like, basically, you just came out, you did what you want to do. There's no need to feeling guilty about it. Be okay with the decision that you made and move on. So, as well, she gets a call from Brianna, and so she goes, and and be's there for Brianna. Everybody's gathering up to be there for Brianna. She's back at the house with the priest making arrangements or whatnot, and she has to write. Has to basically have remarks, something to say. And the last thing on her mind is having remarks and saying something nice about the dead husband who cheated on her. So there's like, hey, maybe, we'll leave that out. But Eric's like, no matter what, whatever you need, I got you. Naomi, Valeria was like, Naomi, wrote a song that Jill's going to sing. So they're really coming around and really, making sure that they're coming in and supporting her. But, at this point, she wants to take her mind off of it. She wants to take her mind off of that mess and that drama. It's like, what's going on with y'all? But of course, everybody's like, no, it's about you. How are you doing? Nobody wants to talk about that mess, because everybody got mess. Everybody got drama going on, right? So, I guess it's like an early repass, because like people are over. Either way, rewind, fast forward. Anywho, it might not even been people. It might honestly just been the regular characters, but it honestly just seemed like there was more people in the room. But Tina had showed up with Jill, and she had took notice that Brianna wasn't really acting normal, that she was just a little bit off. But she's like, Jill's like, come on, like, she just, lost her husband. And in the midst of that conversation, Brianna comes over and she's just like, how I basically, he left me to handle this ball. He left me to pick up the ball or whatever or whatnot. Like, he didn't even basically reap the repercussions for his cheating, and now I have to deal with that, plus now make these arrangements for him. And now my daughter's crying, she can't seem to stop crying, so no, I really can't even have my own feelings or whatnot. And that brought Jill and Tina to have a conversation about cheating. At that point, Jill was like, not for the cheat. She was not for it, not hearing none of it. She was like, basically like, oh, well, now I get it. Now I kind of like understand, like, there's just no room for that. And mind you, Jill has a guilty conscience, so she is all for taking up for Jeff right now. Like, we don't know the reason. We don't know what brought him to this point. Or, people do come back from cheating, and Tina was basically like, nah. They don't, right? So, don't I always say that we always find, no matter what, we will always find Eric and Naomi in a corner. And what happens? He ends up rolling up on her. Like, come on, where you at? Give me the tea. Give me some answers. I didn't know what's going on. And Naomi's like, how dare you? Our friend is going through some stuff. You're being selfish. But of course, he felt like she being selfish for the move that she played all these years. Boom. But Saved by the Bell. Here comes JoJo. But, she went for the bathroom, trying to get to a bathroom, but she's like, I don't even want to stand here for whatever's going on here. So she knows something, there's some type of tension or whatnot going on about them. So like I said, if they could to find a corner, Valeria's gonna pop out of somewhere. Valeria was the one holding up the bathroom. So everybody's like, whoop, gotta go. Hey, boom, boom, I'm in the bathroom, I'm free. She's like, Valeria's like, you owe me an explanation. You owe me answers or whatever, whatnot. And E-Rock basically confirms with her that the entire time that they were on, that those two, that they were on, him and Naomi was on as well. And that basically, only reason why we didn't even end up together because she didn't chose me, and it was her choice to keep us a secret or whatever, whatnot. So Valeria finding out, one, that she was number two, didn't sit well. That she told the man that she loved him, didn't sit well. Like, she's literally just basically fix your shit, bro. Fix your shit. I'm out here looking stupid, and whatnot. I don't really feel bad for Valeria. I know my feelings, how I feel about that, how you even got up in here to begin with. Like, got up in here, I mean this group. So, moving on. So, y'all. Y'all. So why the Mitch is still calling, y'all? She's still calling. So she happens to call, though, in front of everybody. So, of course, Valeria, Jill, Naomi, they all have feelings on how they should handle this Alexis situation and whether she should answer the phone or not. And I kind of think I appreciate how they handled this mistress wife situation, but I don't want to jump too early into it. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna leave it at that. So Valeria basically felt that basically she had a right to know, and I don't know if she was on some I just found out I was number two type thing, or whether, but at the same time, the points that she made was valid. The child, if she was on a stance of at the end of the day, it's not this female's, it's not her fault. Jeff was the one that's married. Jeff is at least what, a decade at least older than her. Like, if the shoe was on the other foot, you would want to know. That scene ended off with basically that Valeria was going to do some shady stuff or do something behind their back, because she was looking hella suspicious about that situation. So, and boom, they decide to get another little jumping the gun here. We get a nice moment with Brandy singing again. I'll take her singing, and she basically just decides to stay. Oh no, Muffin, we got a little y'all, we got a little for Muffin, because I know we've been trying to figure out like where little Muffin at. Is we gonna see little Muffin? We know little Muffin's in rehab, and little Muffin has sent some flowers, like talking to her OD slang, like, sis, this is crazy, you on the dome, like, type thing. Jojo was like, you're on her mind. Thank you, Jojo, because I was like, wait a minute, what? Rewind that, what she was trying to say? So they decide to stay, and Jojo and Naomi decide to stay with Brianna a little bit longer, just to be there for her and the kids. And Brandy breaks out in a rendition of Ain't No Sunshine. And come on, I don't really need to even say much even into that or whatever or whatnot. But as she's singing, we just get a glimpse into everybody. Everybody's spiraling. Everybody got something going on or whatever, right? And so, like I said, Valeria was going to do something shady. And so she ends up going to Alexis and I guess finding out where she lived at, because she went to her house and basically told her that old boy was dead. And she is boo-hooing, like all kinds of tears, so upset, and then says that she was in love with Jeff, y'all. Why, Lord? Why, Lord? She was in love, or not even was. She's in love with Jeff. And yeah, she's feeling it. And of course, what does she do? She asks Valeria, well, when's the funeral? Hello? Did you forget that you are the side piece? And that he had a whole wife? And yeah, you talk about some, I cause a call. No, girl, you need to slow down. In Valeria's defense, she tried to steer her away, telling her that she need to, it's the past. She need to focus on the future and like move on. We know good and damn well that girl ain't gonna move on like that, right? So, Jill and Tina, not Trina, Jill and Tina has the task of picking out the casket or whatever, right? And at this point, Tina's like, what's going on? I can tell you haven't really been yourself. We haven't really been talking on the phone. You just seem distant. You act like my hand was complete poison or something like that if I touched you. And you think I just knew. I'm like, yes, Jill, she's gonna tell her. She didn't tell her. She puts it off like, I want you to move in. What? No, you don't want her to move in. That is not it. So she tells her, I want you to move in. And at first Tina's like, wait a minute, what? But then she's like, you know, I want the best of both worlds, basically. I want to have my music, and I want to, the group, and I still want to be able to, I want you to be here. I want you to be near and with me or whatnot. And then that was all Tina needed to hear. She was all for it. She's like, yes, come on, we got it. Meanwhile, Naomi wants to finally confront, not even finally, decides to confront E-Rock and trying to figure out if Valeria knows about JoJo being his or whatever, whatnot. And he's just on some, how dare you basically come and confront me type stuff. This ain't even it when you ain't even answer my question. And she go ahead and give the tea. That basically, him and Valeria were doing their thing, and she found out that she was pregnant before the San Diego show, and kind of it ended up just being about like y'all. It's basically out of hurt, basically. They betrayed her with taking her music. She found out, right before the show, and it was just like, I made a decision on my own based off of that. So she went a couple of days, or went city to city, debating on what she was gonna do. She didn't want the baby, she wanted the baby. She didn't want the baby, and then she finally scheduled for an abortion, but she never actually followed through with it. And then seeing him and Eric and Valeria on a magazine cover, was it like US Weekly? She was like, at that point, I just decided that you had your thing and I had mine, and I just kept moving like that. And now going forward, you need to you need to leave it to me. It's only fair that I make the choice of when I feel, or when or if to tell her that you are her dad. Because of course he's like, she should know. I think that she would want to know after all this. So it all ends in Naomi's like, at the end of the day, you owe this to me, to at least give me the chance to do it how I want to do it, and you need to trust that I'm gonna do the right thing, basically, right? So Jill is helping Bree with her eulogy, and of course, she's still in defense mode of Jeff, and Breon's just trying to understand it. Like, where is this like all even coming from? Like, it was different, because of the situation with Tina. But just like, that's the thing. I cheated on Tina now. Like, I'm not a bad person. I know I'm a bad person, but you can tell me I'm not a bad person. Like, and Brianna's just like, you need to get yourself in check. Like, what happened to commitment? This what you want to do? Who you want to be with? Like, just kind of like low-key checking her on some stuff or whatever, right? And so E-Rock comes up, asks for, is asking for a drink, asks for a beer, and Brianna directs him downstairs. And JoJo is actually downstairs, which makes sense now why the paint can in the beginning, why she props the door with like a paint can when she goes into the basement, because the door locks when you close it from the inside or from the outside. Whatever way, they're on the inside. They're not going to be able to get out, right? So, of course, just as she's saying, don't let the door close, he lets the door close, and they're stuck down here. So I'm like, oh, shit. What's going to happen, right? So they're down there, and of course they're trying to call to, let them know that they're down there locked in, but no one's answering or whatever, whatnot. So they get to talking about, so that's right. So they get to talking about, he asked her, just kind of like, trying to get to know her a little bit, asking about her music scholarship, and even asked, did Naomi ever bring up her dad or whatever or whatnot? And JoJo was just like, no, that basically, she was too embarrassed because, oh no, that's how they technically had got onto it, is because JoJo had made a comment about, she hoped her dad was like somebody or whatever or whatnot, so that her mom wouldn't get all the credit for her music side. And that's what brought Eric to, ask had, she ever brought him up or whatnot. And JoJo was like, no, she was embarrassed. She didn't really know who he was. But Eric treats the situation with such grace. He treats Naomi with such grace, because he could have very well signaled something, tried to slide something in, even just like, oh, back in the 90s, like things were crazy then, blah, 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 blah. Like, making her not even to still out to be the bad person, when honestly, he very well could feel like he's very rightful in his feelings to feel like, that she was the bad person in this situation. And they bond thing. He offer her beers, like, but somebody gonna tell your mama type thing. She's like, oh, this is my first beer, da 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 da. And he asked her, and I just knew, y'all. I was like, oh, he gonna give it up from there. He gonna give it up from there. But he asked her, would she want to know who her dad was? And at first, with JoJo's response, it kind of had you like, no, maybe as much as she wants to know, maybe she ain't really want to know. But she do. She feels empty. She feels that side. There's a void, and she wants that void to be filled. So, Naomi finds Steve. Naomi finds them, runs downstairs, and she's like, "Did you tell her?" And he was like, "No." He was like, I think it's fair, and I'm gonna follow your lead." And yeah, Naomi. Okay, maybe okay. She could have thanked him. I mean, basically, because I felt at the end of the day he could have blew up the spot. He could have blew up the spot, but that very well showed how much of a man he was, and how even maybe he understood how he didn't need to, not even just looking at it from his own perspective, looking at it from her, as in JoJo's perspective of, nah, I can't just try to brum rush this on her like that, because that's not something she would be ready for. No way. So, oh my God, y'all, I thought like. We finally see Brianna like have a moment. She's working on the eulogy, and she goes in the bathroom and just screams, y'all, just screams. And no, she was not breaking down. She was not having a moment, at least not just yet. Valeria was telling the girls about it, and she was like, yeah, she came downstairs and asked me like for a snack or something like that, some random shit, some whatever random that she was said. And so they were like, okay, yeah, well, guess we're all good to go. So we're at the funeral. Why? But what? First off, why is Valeria dressed like she going to the club? Like, I get it, but she going, matter of fact, nothing to the club, like she got a show or something. It's real lacy and see-through-y. Even Brianna was a little like, you know what? We ain't gonna get on weddings. I mean funerals. We ain't gonna get on what we're wearing to the funeral. So anyway, Brianna and not Brianna, Naomi and Valeria, when they look at each other, they kind of have to look at each other and say, like, it's complicated, because it is complicated. That was something that Eric was trying to say to Valeria when he was telling her his truth about him and Naomi. But they both apologized to each other, I guess, for the parts, one for, just the lies, the miscommunication, their friendship just being, falling to the wayside because of the mess that had been carrying on. And Valeria just let her know that, basically just kind of gave her like a little bit of insight, because she is kind of like on a little, like an orphan or whatever, whatnot. And she was like, I don't want to know. Basically just saying, like, in my opinion, I think you should tell her. I'd want to know, just like I wanted to know who my mom is. I'd want to know who, she probably wants to know who her dad is. And giving Eric credit, he would be a great dad, a corny dad, but nonetheless, a great dad. So. Jill confesses, and because right at the funeral, and Jill decides, she wants to do a confession. And what's actually significant about this part is, obviously the priest realizes who she is in the confession, and they both just have to have a moment where they talk about, the priest just talking about, becoming a priest, you make sacrifices for God, and you have certain limitations or restrictions on things. And he was just basically saying that outside of that, while he, is happy to be of service and of God and things like that, but sometimes he does wish that he did not have restrictions and limitations. And Jill agreed and had the same feeling. So that part was so, what we're just gonna keep that part in mind, because I just feel like that was it was either significant or it was just like a nice lesson, a silent lesson to be learned in there or whatnot. But I'm here for it. I'm there for it. I'm standing in it, right? So, um, just as the funeral is about to show up, Alexis shows up like, girl. She show up, and Brianna immediately, oh no, I got this. I'm gonna handle it. Yeah, no, boop, knocks her down. Just knocks her right on down. And it's like goes at it. So they run to her, they break it up, they break it up and, try to, you know, get Brianna to calm down, and it does. It ends up, in a laugh, like that was Professor Sex, like that's the thing that Professor Sex does, like. But at the end of the day, Brianna's like, I want to talk to her. I do. I want to talk to her, and this is what I was talking about when in regards to how. No, not just yet. I still need to wait. So, and she does. They do have a conversation, and while they're having a conversation, Jill finally admits to Tina that she actually had cheated, and of course Tina knew. She knew something, because just of all the changes happened in her life, and just the way that she had been acting lately, like that she knew. But she was like, at this point, like, I'm not worried about the whole cheating situation. I'm worried about, what is it that you want? Because this very well could have been just like a one-off thing. But if it's not a one-off thing, I need to know so we can know how to move forward. And Jill was honest with her and told her that she did not know, that she didn't know what she wanted. And Tina, was just like, I waited for you to come to me, and you did come, but looks like I just have to wait a little bit longer. So that's it. They're broken up. Maybe we might still see a little bit of Tina, but I feel like this might be the end of Tina's role going forward. But I could possibly stand corrected. We'll see, right? So they realize it's quiet though, and they need to check on Brianna and Alexis. And when they open the door, finally, now, cue the waterworks. Now, Brianna is having her moment in tears, because she had asked her, did you love my husband? And of course, Alexis said yes, and she asked, what did you love about him? And that whatever conversation they had must have brought something. It got Brianna to that point, and she's like, okay, now I'm ready to give this eulogy for my husband. And before the eulogy, Jill sings. Oh, y'all. Remember, she was supposed to have been singing the song that Naomi had written. And I just want to say that Naturi has a beautiful voice. I feel like even in 3LW, and I'm sitting here even now thinking, and as I was thinking about it then, like, this is really my first time, I think, hearing her sing alone by herself. I don't think I had that. Like, I knew she clearly could sing, but I don't think I really had actually heard her sing. But if y'all know some other parts or know something where you actually heard her sing alone, let me know in them comments down there. And by means, also don't forget to like. But yeah, so I did I enjoyed Naturi singing in the. Oh, y'all, I told y'all like that. I teared up just off of hearing the song alone. Like that the song was indeed a beautiful song. I would love to know who wrote that song without having to do no homework. But Jill sang a very nice song, beautiful song. She has a beautiful voice. Naturi, excuse me, because I want to give her the credit, not Jill. I want to give Naturi the credit. Naturi has a beautiful voice. Whoever wrote that song was a beautiful song. It hit very well close to home. One of my closest people that I've lost in my family was my mother. So that was definitely enough to get tears going. I didn't tear. I watered up though, but I was alright. So, they sang the song, and Brianna gave an amazing eulogy. She was just it was heartfelt, but as well was honest. And she just talked about that at the end of the day, Jeff was human. Jeff was imperfect. Jeff, had flaws. She talked about basically like their relationship and how in the beginning, he told her that she was gonna be his wife, and him opening the doors for her, and he was just good to Brie. And I think that Alexis saying what she loved about him is what helped Brianna to remember what she loved about her husband, and that's finally what got her to that moment. And we had a beautiful eulogy, and she ended it with he was flawed, but I loved him. And woo, look at me, y'all. Did you hear the shakies in my voice? I'm getting emotional again. Y'all told I'm a crybaby. So as in the midst of all that, Naomi does bring E-Rock and JoJo together, and to tell them that mainly to tell JoJo that E-Rock is her dad. But y'all, that he was flawed, but I loved him. That just hits so deep. Like it even like hits deep, like low key in real life, like in my present life, that is like right now. So yep. I was just about to say it was over, but look, this is what I want to say before I even get into it, because I did like how they played a different way to the whole mistress and wife thing situation. Do I think it's realistic that the mistress will be sitting in the front row behind the wife? I can't really say, but I think over it all, I like the fact that we're moving to the point of, or excuse me, that it wasn't a blame the woman, blame the woman, blame the woman, blame the woman type of thing, because that is literally what happens in life when the man cheats. It's the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault. It's the woman's fault, and we fail to really hold the man accountable. Yes, especially if she knew whatever. Not gonna get into too deep, but so in that moment, I like that Valeria did stand up for her, and then overall, I liked how they, just tried to play it a little bit differently. I still would like to have been a little bit more realer, but nonetheless, the TV is funny. And which, of course, the show definitely has its funny moments, which leads to this part right here. At the very end, she's at the casket, standing over her husband. And again, unrealistic moment, but the mistress comes up to Alexis, and she's, looking over him. Next thing she throws up, y'all. She's booing, crying, and then she just throws up out of nowhere. Now, my first thought was, oh, snap. Like, this is it. Like, Brianna's gonna feel like, redeemed, justified. Like, I can't really figure out the word that I'm trying to say or whatever, whatnot. But like, that's it. Like, it's like, now you're getting thrown up on in your casket. But no, that was not the reaction. Brianna looks at her with them eyes. Oh, these evil eyes, is like, you're pregnant, aren't you? What? Y'all, next week. Catch me back here next week, because I cannot wait to see where this is going to pick up from. So comment below what you thought of the episode. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can come check me out next week, hear my recap on Queens, as well as see my other videos. All right, later.